Welcome to the latest midweek car competition judging video here at BOTB. We'll now hand over to the lawyer from Onside Law who'll oversee the proceedings.
My name's Robin Cumming from Onside Law and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditors as at. I would now like today's judges to introduce themselves and using the secure link provided, mark on the screen where they think the centre of the ball should be. The group will then come to a final panel decision.
Good morning, my name's Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer.
Hi, I'm Jenna Scalacci, former professional footballer. I'm now a head coach on a Tottenham College programme.
Hi, my name's Renee Hector and I play football for Watford FC Women and I'm a coach for Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
I'm Nigel Hicks. I've been a Supply League match official for the best part of 30 years and I'm an experienced football administrator.
Hi, my name is Matthew Ray. I've affiliated in multiple counties across England, currently in Gloucestershire, and have refereed from grassroots through to professional academies.
Good morning, my name's Andy Braithwaite and I'm a football referee, mentor and licensed observer.
Good morning, my name's Hugh Gilroy. I'm a referee, a mentor, tutor and observer.
Good morning, my name is Leo Donnellan. I'm an ex-professional football player, having been with Chelsea, Fulham and Leyton Orient.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fitzgibbon. I've played football for more than 30 years and am now a senior county referee.
Good morning, my name is Roger Wheeler. I'm a referee and I have been refereeing and lining for more than 30 years.
Judges, please now come to a final panel decision. For your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 10 individual selections.
Thank you very much, Robin. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Okay, so there's 4 players in shot. We've got a guy with his back to us. He's just looking in the general direction. We've got no real information from him. A guy on the left in the background, I think he's looking at the 2 players more than the ball to me. And then we've got a player in yellow and a player in red and white looking up towards the ball. It looks to me like the face expression of the guy in yellow, he's just basically interfering with the guy in front of him who's got his arms up. And I will cross-reference their eyes now. And we've got a fairly tight cluster. We've got a good eye here. Going up here just through Nigel's at the top. And below here, just through Jenna's at the bottom here. And again, we've got one good eye from this player in red. And then again, that goes up just through Leo's and across to Andy. So we've got quite a tight quadrant. If I put the magnifier over the top, we've got Jenna at the bottom and Andy at the top, just sort of poking out. So Andy, I'll excuse me, I'll magnify yours and put the centre of the ball over the top of your choice. And if you could explain how you've seen this photo, please.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, in my opinion, I thought the guy in red and white with his arms raised, about to start his jump. Again, looking at his eyes, I just thought the ball was just slightly in front of him as it's coming into him, but he's going to pull himself up, and by the time he reaches the top of his jump, the ball would be obviously square above him. But I just feel that the ball was just coming in slightly from right to left, dropping down in on him, and he was about to make his jump. The guy in yellow obviously fixed firmly on the ball, and I think we're pretty much all like looking at the same type of thing there, the same sort of angle. But yeah, just for me that the ball was just that slight bit ahead of the guy in red and white, just by his body language and where the ball would drop in between his outstretched arms and his head.
Great, lovely. Thank you, Andy. And Jenna, I'll come to you. You're just ever slightly at the bottom here. Again, I'll magnify yours there and then highlight it here.
Yeah, I felt the guy in red, his head was tilted slightly back. So I felt it was slightly in front of him as we're looking at it. His arms are raised, ready to leave the ground to meet the ball. So I felt the ball was a little bit closer to him. similar with what's been said with the guy in yellow. I don't think he's going to win the ball. I think he's just trying to disrupt the player in red, maybe knock him off balance with his arms. I can't see where his arms are, but I imagine they're on his back. So yeah, I've just gone a little bit closer. I feel the player in red's ready to leave the floor to meet the ball.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. So they're the two choices that are just slightly outside the magnified cross here. So now I'll come to you next, Roger. You're just up here to the left of Andy's, and in a sort of a group of three across the top. How did you see the photo?
Well, much the same, Matt. I think, yeah, the red player on the ground looks as if he's about to leap, and the yellow player is interfering with him. I think the only thing I would add, I looked at their eyes, and they both got a fair bit of white sort of at the bottom of the eye, which suggests they're sort of looking up or a little bit more steeply. But in the end, it's a question of where are they actually looking? And we're all roughly in the same area, so it's going to be subtle adjustment, I think.
Absolutely right. Yes, that's it is. I mean, it is subtle adjustment with this 10 choices, which brings us to this average here. So we're all in the same sort of troughs of vision, so to speak. Okay, thank you. Nigel, you're just here again in line with Andy and Rogers here. How did you see what was happening and the reason for your choice?
Thanks. Morning, everyone. So yeah, I've seen it much as others. I think the cluster's fairly tight, but and I see it as the ball is dropping probably slightly right to left, but also I think the ball is nearer to us and it's dropping towards them, so the ball's moving away from us in the photo towards them slightly. So, but other than that, I think the yellow is something of an onlooker. He's just trying to interfere with the red, who looks favourite to get the ball. I don't see anybody jumping. I think everyone's planted on the ground, and the red is just trying to get under the ball as it drops there.
Okay.
So hence, because I feel it's closer to us, and I think the angle's slightly steeper than some have got it. That's why I put my cross there.
Okay, great, thank you. And Leo, you're just next to Nigel's there, magnifying yours there and then highlighting it. How did you see this?
Yeah, hi Matt. Yeah, I think the player in yellow, for me, I felt he was looking fairly steeply. We've got a good view of his eye. I think he's very close to the player in red. And I think he's still got the opportunity to challenge for the ball. So I don't think necessarily the player in red is going to get the ball. I think it's still there to be challenged for, and the challenge is going to happen very soon. I think with the player in red, I think he's looking very steeply. So just with both their eye lines. But I do think that the challenge is about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it should be said at the bottom, and I'll highlight, you can see some fingers round the back of the player in red, and looking, because we can see his two arms and there's no other player that we can see. I would imagine the player in yellow has got his arm or arms around the player in red at the beginning to sort of, as you said, interfere with him and sort of stop him, maybe possibly stop him jumping or maybe coming through the back. So yeah, great. Thank you very much. Now I'll come to the sort of the middle group here. Matthew, here, you're magnified here. You're just to the left of the calculated average. How have you seen this photo?
So yeah, like Leo says, I think it's going to be a contested ball. I do think the player in red's looking quite steeply, which is why I've probably gone more to the left hand side. The way I've played the player in yellow, I've looked at the angle of his head and compared that with his eye line. I think his eyes are looking above the angle of his head, more steeply than the angle of his head. So I've just taken that into account, and that's given me my sort of vertical for the point I've placed there.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. And then we'll go straight to you, Rennie. You're in the middle of the cluster, I would suggest, highlighting yours now. How have you seen the photo and the sort of the tussle that's going on?
Yeah, similar to Leo and Matthew, really. I've just put my cross a little bit further in front because I feel like if the ball is too steep, I know the player in red and white is looking very steeply, but if the ball is too steep, then it's likely it's just going to sail over his head. so he probably wouldn't contest it. I still feel like it's a bit of a 50-50. I feel like the ball is far enough away from the two players for the player in yellow to even come and potentially win the ball, as I think the player in red and white doesn't look particularly convincing in the first place. So yeah, that's why I put my cross there.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I've gone just below you. I'm obviously on a slightly lower, but I thought the same thing with the player in red, where he sort of twisted his head. It wasn't directly above him, but that's great explanation. Thank you. And now, Hugh, you're here. You're again in the sort of the middle of the main cluster. How have you seen this, and what you thought was happening in the shot?
Yeah, not too dissimilarly. I still think the player in yellow for me was going to contest. So used a similar route to Matthew and looking at where his head position was, but his eye line for me was slightly above that.
Yeah.
And I agree with what Renee's saying. I think the player in red's kind of off balance already, sort of twisting. So I still felt I came a little bit in front of where the actual eye line was, because he's looking relatively straight up.
Yeah, great, thank you. And last but not least, Kieran, you're again in the middle of this the main cluster here. I'm highlighting yours now, magnifying it. How did you see that the position of this this tussle?
Yeah, thank you, Matt. I'm much agreeing with the last few judges. I think the player in yellow is going to contest the ball. You're right; he's got the you can see the fingers around the back, so it may be just having the point of impact or about to have a point of impact. I took his facial expression. For me, he's focusing just on the ball, and he's obviously not taking a lot of notice of the other player, so he's probably going to clatter through him. But I think he's quite close, and he's going to contest the ball, and I think it's anybody's to win. And I agree with Rene, the player in red on the ground doesn't look in a natural position, although he looks like he's going to go up. He's not necessarily going to win the ball from there. But other than that, I agree with the rest of the judges. Okay, that's great. Lovely. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, so we've got some really good explanations. I think there's one that's jumping. The majority think it's just going to be a contested ball, but all the explanations are fully justifiable. So with the magnifier over the top of this particular average, we have Andy's above outside and Jenna's below. So I'm going to take this individually, as we discussed before. If I remove Andy's, we'll see that the calculated average drops down a little bit, and we still have Jenna's slightly out the bottom. And if I also remove Jenna's, it moves slightly further back up again, but it encompasses the final 8 choices. So with this in mind, I think I'd like to take the votes to remove Andy first, and then with that in mind, then to look at Jenna's cross. And we're doing it individually, because if we remove the 2 judges, then we will have a possibility of an even vote, which we're trying to avoid. So firstly, could we have with this movement of this average, and then with Jenna's removed later on, with that in mind, please could we choose whether we go forward with Andy's removed? I'm in favor of Andy being removed. Jenna?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Renee?
Yeah, agreed.
Great. Nigel?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Matthew?
I'd keep Andy in.
Thank you. Andy? Oh, sorry. I don't have a vote. Beg your pardon. Leo?
I'll keep Andy in.
Okay, thank you. Hugh?
Without.
Kieran?
I'd keep Andy in.
And lastly, Roger?
I'd take out Matt.
Okay, so with a 6-3 vote, we've decided to leave Andy's out. And then the second vote, if I remove Jenna's, this calculated average again goes back up further into the cluster and encompasses the rest of the 8 choices. So again, I'm in favor of Jenna being removed. Renee?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay. Nigel?
I would keep Jenna in, actually.
Jenna in. Okay, thank you. Matthew?
I'd keep Jenna in.
Jenna in. Great, thank you. Andy? Okay. Leo?
We'll take Jenna out.
Yep. Hugh?
Keep in.
Keep in. Thank you. Kieran?
Keep Jenna in.
Great, thank you. And lastly, Roger?
I'd take Jenna out.
Yeah, Andy, could you confirm your vote for Jenna's choice, please?
Yeah, in that respect, I would keep Jenna in.
Thank you. Okay, with another good tight vote, we've decided to keep Jenner's in by 5-4. So I will add Jenner's back in. And as it says, it just drops this calculated average down. We've got, it's still in the middle of the cluster there. I'll highlight that.
Sorry, Matt, just before you carry on, can we reverse it round just for my sake? Can you do the same thing again, but take Jenner's out first before mine, if you don't mind?
So you want to add yours back in?
Yeah.
And then remove Jenner's.
And then just put the circle. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So after a good debate, Robin, we decided to judge at the calculated average with Andy's choice removed and Jenner's choice left back in.
Great, thank you, Matt. If you're all happy, then please click submit. Thank you, judges. The coordinates selected are 27651083. These coordinates will now be passed to the auditors as ASETs to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform best of the best. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.